Radio Pop-da 93.2 FM
Right.
কেন
Radio Pop-da 93.2 FM
আপনি এটার জন্য না মনে হয় হয়তো ইয়া করছে মনসুর ভাই কোনো পোস্ট করছে ওটার জন্য আপনি ইয়েটা বাদ দিন পদ্মা নিউজ বাদ দিন যেটাতে হচ্ছে ঝামেলা হচ্ছে রেডিও পদ্মাটা বাদ দিয়ে দেন বা এটাতে
রেডিও পদ্মা বাদলে লাইভ করবেন কি
পদ্মা নিউজ এটাতে তো ব্লক করছেন এখনটা রেডিও পদ্মা আমি কি করবেন
ঠিক করতেছি এটাকে কি করব ডেস্টিনেশন চেঞ্জ করতে হবে
দিদি বলেন ওয়ালাইকুম আসসালাম হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ ভাই বলেন ওটা স্ক্যান করে পাঠাতে পারেন বা হচ্ছে ইয়া করে স্ক্যান করা যাবে হ্যাঁ ওই মেসেঞ্জারে দিয়ে দেন আমাকে মেসেঞ্জারে পাঠিয়ে দেন হ্যাঁ মেসেঞ্জারে দিতে পারেন হ্যাঁ জি 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 থ্যাংক ইউ দিদি থ্যাংক ইউ এটা কি আমাদের এটার জন্য কোনোভাবে ইয়ে করছে ওরা ব্লক করছে নাকি অন্য কোনো পোস্টের কারণে
Radio Pop-da 93.2 FM
Dear audience, welcome everyone. You are listening country's first community radio station, Radio Pota 99.2 FM. Last 12th August was International Youth Day. This special radio show is organized on the occasion of this day. In collaboration with SAARC Youth Forum, this show organized by CCD Bangladesh. I'm glad that we have the most powerful voice from SAARC Youth Platform and YFPI. Firstly, I would like to introduce our guests. Swami Agarbal, do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so Swami
everyone.
Agarbal, co-founder and CEO of Youth for Peace International. So hello, Soumya. Welcome to your show. I would have to
Thank
hear
you.
from you first. Could you please tell me about you and your organization, Soumya? Okay, please, would you please loud
and
unmute?
Sorry.
Please
Am I
unmute.
audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I am Soumya Agarwal and I am based out of New Delhi, India. It's a pleasure to be here and to share about our work and to indulge in a dialogue with my fellow young people. So we at Youth for Peace International, we are a team of young peace builders who envision a peaceful world of empowered individuals and sustainable society. We work on building capacities of young people in conflict transformation and peace education. We are providing free mental health support to young people in India by establishing the first uh, national mental health helpline by young people and for young people, and advocating for meaningful youth engagement and implementing youth peace and security agenda at national level. So that's briefly about us. Thank you so much.
Audio. Here we can operate the audio function. Okay. So now I am going to Dashratha Gomez, the co-founder and director at Impact Voices.
Hi everyone. So firstly, it's an immense pleasure to be part of this dialogue organized by all of you and also to be among this esteemed panel of young speakers. So just to tell you a bit about Impact Voices, we are a youth-led initiative in Sri Lanka. So I'm joining in from Colombo, Sri Lanka, and we call ourselves an independent social innovation intermediary dedicated towards sustainable development goals integration and system transformation. And we especially focus on delivering strategic programs, trainings, and campaigns, and especially innovative civic engagement opportunities that focus on system thinking and positive transformation in our communities. And right now, we have a special focus on SDG 16, as we believe that peace building is a fundamental requirement and a need for our communities, and we believe there should be sustainable, innovative dialogue and integration that's happening. So that is what we at Impact Voices are facilitating with the hope for a sustainable and peaceful world all throughout the world. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. Now, welcome Mr. Fasahatul Hassan, founder CEO, Youth Advocacy Network, YAN, and convener of SAARC Youth Platform. As you know, you have more than 10 years experience working with youth people. Could you please share your experience with our audience?
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here today, and especially on behalf of SAARC platform. And the SAARC platform is working with all SAARC countries, particularly with young people and youth-led organizations. And purpose of SAARC platform is actually to bring all the young voices together to ensure the sustainable development goals, and how we can work together to ensure the meaningful youth participation at national level and of course at regional level.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so dear audience, you are listening country's first community audio station, Radio Podda 99.2 FM. This special radio talk show is organized on the occasion of Youth National Day. You can join with us and comment in our comment box. We also have a youngster from our sister Bangladesh, Shetu, Sharifa Islam Shetu. Shetu, could you please introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you very much. I'm Sharifa Islam Shetu. I'm a human rights activist. I'm currently working as a co-coordinator of a social action project, Light to Right. I'm a youth leader of Lead Bangladesh.
Okay, thank you so much, Shetu. Dear speakers, we have some common questions. Now the floor is open. Anyone can answer the questions or add these opportunities. It's like an open discussion and the floor is open. So my first question is, do SAARC Youth Platform have any opportunity for Bangladeshi youth? Because Bangladeshi youth audience is so much curious to know about this.
Definitely we have different opportunities based on thematic areas, as well as recently we have also announced a fellowship program, but that was particularly country based. But of course, we are going to announce maybe in near future other fellowship programs for other SAARC countries as well. But our platform is very open and inclusive. Any member from any countries who are like within SAARC region, if you are a young person under the age of 35, you can join SAARC Youth platform. Just have to send an email or our on through our website, or even you can send directly an email to info@saarcyp.org. So it's very simple, it's inclusive. We do not discriminate based on language, on ethnicity, on religion, or whatever. We have only two conditions. One is like you have to be based in SAARC region, and secondly you have to be under the age of 35, and you can become part of the SAARC Youth platform. Secondly, it's the membership also based on individual persons can apply, as well as the youth-led organizations can apply. So as I said, like it's inclusive. We have three major domains and thematic areas. One is peace and intercultural dialogue. Second is humanitarian, and the third one is sustainable development, like how we can work together. And within sustainable development, we have other thematic areas as well. So these are some of the opportunities where young people from Bangladesh definitely can join and work with the SAARC youth platform.
Okay, thank you so much. So, dear youth audience, you can hear that there are a lot of opportunities from SAARC Youth platform, and you can also join with SAARC Youth platform. So, our respectable guests, Soumya Agarwal, you can add something with this question.
Sure. So with SAARC Youth platform, you can stay connected to our social media handles. We do a lot of events like this one. We do a lot of dialogues. So it will be lovely to hear the stories from communities, to hear the ground level perspective. One is that, and secondly, we are very open. So if you have a project idea, if you want any kind of support from us, if you want to tell your story, then you can just reach out to us, and we would love to amplify your work. We would love to share your story and support with any kind of resources that is required, because our platform is run by young people, and we are very inclusive, as Fasahad said, and we would love to support in any capacity that's possible. So that's from my side. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. So, Shetu, do you have any question?
Yes, I do have a question. So my question is, do SAARC Youth platform have any opportunity for Bangladeshi youth?
The honorable guest already told about this matter. Okay, so my next question is, how youth people should raise their voice or advocate for engaging them on decision making and policy making processes of government side. So Soumya Agarwal or the Dasharatha, do you want to speak something?
Sure. I think advocacy is a very important part that young people should take up, and especially in a world, because we see that a lot of time as young people we complain that young youth voices are not heard, and young people are not given opportunities, and there's no seat at the table. And of course, that is true, and there are multiple challenges that we as young people continuously and consistently face. But then we also need to work, and we also need to raise our voices, because there's plenty of opportunities in the world that we know that we live in right now. Technology has given us even platforms like this, through which we have joined today as well. So there are plenty of opportunities for advocacy, for us to voice out for our needs, for our requirements, and it is a responsibility that we have as young people. And a lot of the time, we look at the world as, as young people as the future, but then again, we are also the present of this world, because whatever we do now is going to be that will reflect on what's going to happen next. So it's important that we start to raise our voices, we start to talk about what we really need to see in our world, and we also need to work together with other young people, collaborate, and bring solutions, especially in at impact work. We believe in sustainable transformation, and I think that is very, very important for young people to stand and make conscious decisions about what is very, very important for us. And then, especially in the world that we do, there's a lot of challenges, not just for young people. And it's also important to realize that young people are not just one homogeneous community. We are different, there are differences, but then all these differences are what also connects us and makes us sort of beautiful in a way. So how do we work in diversity? How do we connect with each other and work together? I think advocacy is what that really brings us together, and
ভাই আমাকে একটু মিউট
I
করা
think
আছে?
it's very, very important for all of us to bring this together and to advocate on this. I hope I managed to answer.
Okay, so Sonia Agarwal and Fasad, India and Pakistan's conditions are so same. So my question is, the youth people from your country, how much they are engaged with government and working with to achieving the goals of SDG?
Okay, maybe I can start. Thank you for this question. I would start by saying that recently government of Pakistan has announced a very good step. Is called National Youth Council. It was actually initiated last year in 2020, but it was not like very active. But luckily this year we got it. I mean we did the. I mean I am also making sure that your last question is also addressed. So we also did a lot of advocacy with government, and we made sure that the young people who are coming from grassroots level, from different backgrounds, and of course working with different thematic areas, can join the National Youth Council. And now we have very inclusive youth council, which has transgender representation, which has minority representation, and of course who have worked at very, very rural areas in Balochistan, or in Kashmir areas, or areas which are not usually under the government's radar. So that's why this youth council have now a great responsibility to work with government on the decision making and policy making. At the same time, I would also like to mention that Pakistan had national youth policy back in 2010, but after devolution and amendment in the constitution of Pakistan, it has been devolved to the states and provinces, and now it's with the states and provinces. So the provinces now have developed the youth policy, but unfortunately, as in other developing countries, youth subject is usually stuck with the sports and culture and archaeology, or this kind of departments, and that's how the youth itself and their development comes under these departments, and it does not work very well. So it's still going on. We are trying to work with government. Many young people have did a lot of campaigns, and they made sure that their voices are being heard at policy level as well. So that is something from Pakistan.
Sure. Thank you. Yeah, please
Sonia
go ahead.
Agarwal. Yes. You can say.
Okay, so I just want to mention that there are multiple initiatives that are taken by Government of India, especially how they have established Niti Aayog, and there are some national civil society networks like Vadana Todo, which are taking some considerable steps to implement sustainable development goals at all levels in a country like India, which is diverse, wide. Um, but yeah, a lot of efforts, especially when we talk about SDG 16, a lot of efforts are being taken by young people to implement youth peace and security agenda, especially by starting the Indian National Coalition on Youth Peace and Security, which is a national coalition started by young peace builders and youth-led organizations to implement the youth peace and security agenda. And yeah, a lot of work is still required, I would say, but yeah, if there is partnership between the government and young people, then a lot can be achieved. It's just that young people should not be seen as a tokenist. Whatever they are recommending on the table should be considered and should be included in the policies that are actually coming up. And yeah, and as our region is growing younger with every year passing by, I think that's the need of the hour. And we need to see young people more on decision making levels. And when it comes to policy advocacy, we can see that a lot of protest and peaceful protests are being taken by young people to ensure their needs are taken into consideration and their voices are heard. And I think we need more spaces where there can be dialogue and intergenerational dialogue, where the young people can be heard and there can be partnership, because projects cannot be implemented in silos, development cannot be done in silos. So we need that partnership and collaboration to move forward. Thank you.
Okay, so my question to all of the three guests: do you have any suggestion to our female youth audience that why the need to involve with policy making process with our government?
Okay, I will start off. I hope you all can hear me. Uh, so, I mean, of course, coming in as a male, I might not be the best person to preach to the women who are listening in. But what I want to share is that I strongly believe that all women and everyone
Hmm.
in the world are equal, and everyone should have equal rights, whether it's for education, whether it's for freedom of expression, whether it's to carry on your own livelihood. I think men, women, and any other gender minorities have the right to try to even voice out and also try to engage, as long as they do not uh, harm, they do not damage, or they do not insult anyone. So I think there's space. So the message that I want to give out is, please continue trying. Don't. There will be a lot of challenges and obstacles coming your way, but don't let that stop you in any way. So keep going, and so there will be challenges, but that do not let that obstruct in anything that you do.
Okay, so our female youth audience, you already hear that what Dasrat Gomez said that. So Samia Gabriel, would you please add something regards this question? Because the
Sure.
situation of India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and the Asian subcontinent, I think is so similar, is other.
Sure. So, in my experience, and I can talk about my team and people I work with, I have seen how uh, young female, young female have really come forward when it comes to rebuilding communities, building resilience within the communities. So they have shown how they are very well connected with the communities, and and the and being empathetic, non-violent comes very naturally to them. And sorry if I'm being biased, but this is something I have observed. So I would say that they have a very they are very well connected with the communities, and they know the ground realities. So why not uh, they should be involved when it comes to
Hmm.
advocacy and being on those tables when policies are being formed, when they are the ones who are actually working in the communities as well. So I think I don't see any reason uh, uh, why they should step back and not really talk about it, because that's the need. And now as we are moving forward, we are developing, there is a need that they move forward and speak up. And there are uh, social media handles, right? I know, like, a lot of time accessing the spaces is still a barrier for women, but we still have these spaces like social media, which can be easily accessed, and where we can talk about our opinions. So I would say that there will be a lot of challenges, as Darshita mentioned, but try to find out a way to overcome it. You are powerful. You are uh, connected with communities. You know what we need in the policies, and I don't see any reason to step back and not speak up and leverage the social media handles. That's from my side.
Okay, and I can also add that females need can understand the need. A female can understand a female's need. Okay, so Shetu, do you ask any question with Somi Agarwal, or do you get any tips from her to how can you more active with our government or our policy making processes?
Also, I would like to ask how young people should raise their voice and or advocate for engaging them on decision making and policy making process of the government. So, mm, how can we act together, ensuring meaningful participation of youth?
Sure. Um, so, firstly, I would like to say that we have seen how young people are not taken seriously, and and that is, I think, one of the setbacks which kind of demotivate us, because uh, we put a lot of efforts, we do a lot of hard work, and when we reach to that level, when it actually comes to listening to what uh, we want to say, we are not taken seriously, right? So I would first say that understand the context, understand the needs, understand your community better, and collaboration is the key, right? Individually, you, me, or someone else, it's hard to make a difference. Like, we can reach at that level, but it will take time. Collaborate Through collaboration, we can amplify our voices, we can multiply our efforts exponentially. So I would say, understand the need, collaborate, leverage the free spaces, leverage the spaces which are easily accessible and which are inclusive, right? For example, let's talk about Facebook, let's talk about Instagram. you
Hmm.
you also have equal access to it as much as maybe some MLA or some MP, right? So, and use hashtags, tag them, retweet, be active,
Yeah.
right? And these are the few things that really help with amplifying your voices, amplifying the needs, and organize yourself, either through online campaigns, through offline peaceful protests. uh, yeah, these are the few things that I can think as of now. But be creative. Young people have the power of being creative, being active, easily organizing ourselves, and we understand the needs of each other. So I think supporting each other and collaborating is the key.
I would like to ask, if you don't mind, there's we do many campaign, but there's this problem that many youth participate in it for certificate. So they participate so that
Hmm.
they will get a certificate for it, but when it comes to work, they don't work that much. They actually take a step back, and after some times they're just gone. They don't come together when it's the time to take a step. Okay, so I'm just saying that how can we make sure that they will stay with us and work with us to improve this society, to improve this world?
Sure. maybe my fellow colleagues can also answer this, as they are running their organizations for several years. But I can also add that it's really important first to understand how do you want to engage them, right? So language plays a very important role, right? uh, in a way that, are they understanding the issue well? Are we speaking their language, or are we very westernized, right? When we are very westernized, they feel we have our own agendas. So it's important to have a dialogue when we are recruiting people, have a expectation mapping, right? We cannot just have volunteers and let them work forever. We need to, if they are volunteering, it's really important that they are at least learning, or their expectations are being met. Either they are coming to support their communities, either they are coming to learn, or either they are coming to uh, look out for future opportunities. So if they are leaving, this means that they are not finding the value. It's important to also reflect on how, what is lacking, where is the gap, having a conversation with them. Co-creating programs with the volunteers is something that I have done, and has beautifully it has like beautifully come up. So it's, these are the few things that I do personally. And yeah, I would also suggest that you can take a few steps, but of course Fasad and Darshita can add more to it.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, I would like to add on that. I think the most important point also is to provide an enabling environment, especially if young women and girls are coming to to support and work as a volunteers. It's very important to make sure that they feel safe, they have appropriate environment to work, and definitely it would encourage them. At the same time, as Swami already has mentioned, like it's also important to acknowledge the volunteerism. Volunteerism does not mean that we exploit the volunteers or the person who is coming to work on specific issues. And lastly, I think it's also very important to make sure that when we are recruiting volunteers, we are not just recruiting for the sake of, as you already mentioned yourself, that for certificate, for example, okay, come join us, we will provide you the certificate. You need to make sure that what you are selling or what you are advertising for it has a purpose. So it would definitely attract young people who really believe in the development work. So of course it's a little hard, because young people, we are very how to say you know, we get excited, we get different kind of opportunities. Of course we move on, and that is the beauty of the young age. So we also need to consider and accept the fact that young people cannot stay with us for years and years. We need to also give the opportunity to the new younger generation as well. So it's best to plan accordingly. That our expectations are not very high. We need to plan according to the situation. Each country have different dynamics. So I think that is what I feel about volunteers.
Okay, thank you so much, Soumya and Fasad. Thanks for your advice and experience, and that would be very helpful for our youth people in future work. Dear audience, you are listening country's first community radio station, Radio Pada 99.2 FM. This special radio talk show is organized on the occasion of International Youth Day. In collaboration with SAARC Youth Platform, the show organized by CCD Bangladesh. At the same time, the show also live streaming on host organization and Radio Podda Facebook page. Okay, so Mr. Dashrath Gomez, what role can play our youths regarding on peace building issues? Because you have lot of experience, and also Somi Agarwal, you have a lot of experience about peace building.
Yeah, so thanks answer that question, yes, I do have a bit of experience in peace building, but I think it's very important that young people are part of the peace building process. Firstly, because there's a lot of most of the time, young people are seen as either victims or perpetrators when it comes to the peace building efforts and when it comes to war or violent conflict. So, firstly, young people should try to engage to show that we are not always the victims or the perpetrators, but we can also be peace builders and change makers in our communities. And it is important that we are included in this process. And to be included, we need to show that we are capable and we also have something of value that we can bring into the table. And young people have. I've seen that in a lot of experiences in not just in Sri Lanka, but also in working with other people like Soumya and Prasad. Also, that young people around the region and also in other parts of the world can bring in a lot of value to the table. So, firstly, we must understand that we have value that we can bring, and we don't necessarily have to depend or rely on other stakeholders. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't work with them. We should try to collaborate with all other stakeholders that are there, because that's the beauty of peace building. It's about working together, and it's always important to have intergeneration dialogue. That there are people from older generations who are willing to support us, who are happy to give us an equal ground. So while there are challenges, it's also important to engage with such stakeholders, and we can find solutions. And the other thing that I want to add is we shouldn't look for solutions overnight. We need to have
Mm.
long-term plans looking at sustainability and have
Yeah.
short-term goals for these plans. So that is where I think step by step that we can achieve, because sometimes we are young, we want quick results. Quick results don't always come around, but we need to have short-term goals, but also a long-term plan that reflects or resonates with our longer-term goals. And we also need to empower other young people around us. It's not just us going around. We need to give opportunities and make sure that there is another set of young people who will take on the battle, because we won't be young forever. So there will be others who will take over from us and also continue the process, and that we also continue to support these agendas as well.
Okay. Thank you so much. And Soumya Agarwal and Fasad, would you please add something regards this question, or you can share your experience about peace building? Because you all have a lot of experience about peace building.
Yes, sure. Maybe I can start, and maybe Soumya can definitely join. She has exclusive and experience in working on peace with young people. So actually, peace building is very important, especially when it comes to SAARC region. We have seen very unfortunate incidents in the history. Let's not talk about that, but it's also important to talk about that as well, to reflect and to actually for moving forward. But the important point is that we need to understand the, as I said, like dynamics of each country and each society that we are living. And as a SAARC region, it's very important that if we really want to develop even Sustainable Development Goal number 17, it also talk about partnership. So as a region, if we are not going to work together uh, 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 in peace and harmony, we cannot achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. As my fellow colleague already mentioned about some of the aspects, peace also includes intercultural dialogue and interfaith harmony within the societies. So it's also very important that we, as young leaders and young people, particularly try to learn, try to understand the differences which are the most important. Because usually we talk about the similarities within the societies, but I believe that we also need to acknowledge, understand, and accept differences as well. Because if we will not accept the differences that we do have within our societies, our countries, our region, it would be very difficult for us to live together in peace and harmony. So these are some of the thoughts that I have. I'm sure like my fellow colleagues can also contribute to that.
Okay, there's Soumya Agarwal.
Sure. I think most of the aspects are being covered by Darshita and Fisahat, but I would just like to um, say that how young people are considered uh, as just victims and perpetrators, as Darshita mentioned, but not as leaders and positive agents of change. They are mostly seen as a homogeneous group, no, like people who are just engaged in violence and which are mostly seen like men in our society who are mostly engaged in violent activities, and women are mostly considered as the victims. But how we can change the narrative is the need of the hour, because as I'm repeating myself, as we are growing younger as a nation, as a region, it's really important that the narrative around young people needs to change. They need to be considered uh, as the equal stakeholders when it comes to uh, building a peaceful nation or a peaceful region. Because right now young people are just seen as volunteers. It's it's good, like it's good young people have that energy, have that time, space and everything. But this narrative is also problematic, because then we cannot see young people beyond volunteers, beyond volunteers as partners or as leaders or as people whose say can also be included at policy level, uh, uh, in policies. So it's really important that their work is not just limited to volunteerism. They get the space, and their work is recognized with, and their efforts are recognized and they are resourced. A lot of times when we are seeing young people as volunteers, they think, okay, they don't need resources, right? When we talk about projects, they want us to do sustainable projects, because peace building is a process. We cannot change the world or change the community overnight, right? It takes time, and it also needs resources. People think when it comes to violence, then only we need resources, but peace building is a voluntary process that can happen and young people can take it forward. But that's not true, that's not the reality. Young people need the resources, they need the funding. And a lot of times even the funding spaces and the funding mechanisms are so tight and restricted that young people are not left to access it. And one of the reasons why we are not seeing young peace builder being able to sustain themselves is because they don't get the resources, and at the end of the day even they have to pay their bills, or otherwise who will do that? And at the end of the day they have to leave the field, unfortunately, even though they want to work and serve the community. So it's really important that when policies are being framed, young people should be center of that policy. And we need to understand that when it comes to meaningful youth engagement, bringing young people on the table, listening to them or telling them like, okay, we will support you, or okay, we will create this fund for young people, will not change the scenario. But also making the process inclusive, also making the process youth sensitive will change the process. And at all levels, especially at the decision making level, we need to have young people on board so that they can tell those people what are the issues and problems that those young people are facing. Otherwise it will be very I would say hypocrite process, where we are just making decisions or making processes, but we will not see the results on ground. So that's from my side. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. At the end of our program, would you like to say something our audience or our youth volunteers?
I would like to ask a question.
Okay, Shetu, you can.
Okay, so I would like to ask my fellow colleagues, do you have any opportunity for Bangladeshi youth?
Shetu, we already know this question's answer. Maybe Fasa, then
I was trying to
Soumya.
say, I was trying to say that if we can collaborate and work on a project that could, you know,
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
That means
Maybe
okay.
sure. I mean, I
Hasan.
would like to address that. I mean, if I'm understanding it correctly. So, as today we are together, you know, to discuss on the in regards to International Youth Day. Maybe in coming months there is International Peace Days coming up. So I would really
Exactly.
encourage you and your colleagues to contact us, and we can work together to organize something to engage young people from Bangladesh in particular for Peace Day, and of course at regional level as well, at SAARC level. So that is one of the opportunities that I mean, I can commit, and I can say that we can work on that together.
Okay, thank you so much, Shetu. Maybe you will understand. Okay, so at the end of the day, would you like to say something, our youth
yes.
audience, or youth volunteers? Okay, thank
Sure,
you so
I
much.
can.
Okay, Soumya.
Okay. Yeah, just in the end, I just want to say that uh, I can say actually on behalf of SAARC Youth Platform that we have this regional body and we are there. So you can reach out to us at any time if you need any support. We cannot, like a lot of time, people think that support means financial resources. So we cannot commit that, but support a lot of times comes as standing as allies, no? Standing or just being there to listen the kind of issues that we are facing, or amplifying through our platform, or supporting you in brainstorming or giving our ideas, collaborating. So I would say we have those, we can create those spaces, and we would like to commit to you to create such spaces for you. So you can reach out to us. And lastly, uh, we can actually create a peaceful world by actually working. So it, even though there are a lot of challenges, even though the path is not flowery and uh, uh, quick or achievable, but I would say that please don't stop your work, stay committed to it, and in near future we will definitely see the results. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. A special thanks to our honorable guests. We had a great conversation. And dear audience, stay safe always and goodbye. Shrota Bandhu, Radio